Okay na, ma'am.
Yes. Sige, you may start now.
Sige. Isa ganek si Marino. Good morning, everyone. We are the group 3 and we discuss about the reactions stoichiometry. Next slide. Next. So the steps of the reaction stoichiometry, first is we need to balance the equation, then label the desired given quantities. Then the second step is to set up the strategy or change grams of given moles, use mole ratio to convert moles of given, then to moles desired, then i-convert natin to moles of desired quantity to grams desired. Then third, mag-solve na tayo or do the math. Next. So kari siya, mao lang na siya ang apil na mo siya para mechanic map para ma-remember lang nato kung unsa jud ang iyang mga sa particles, sa grams and sa liters. Next. So the problem type 1. So if given and unknown quantities or amounts in moles, so when you are given the amount of substance in moles and asked to calculate the amount in moles of another substance, the chemical reaction, so ang general plan is amount of given substance or mole to amount of unknown substance or mole. Next. So problem number 2, given is an amount in moles and unknown is a mass that is often expressed in grams. So when you are given the amount of one substance and we ask to calculate the mass of another substance, so the chemical reaction and the general plan is amount of given substance or mole to amount of unknown substance and to amount of unknown substance or mole. Next. Unsa na nga slide si ano na si Maisel.
Ay, okay. Sorry. Madunggan ko, guys, kasi medyo mahina yung signal dito sa amin. Hello. Marinig ako?
Yes, Maisel.
Madungog ka, Day.
Thank you po. So for the problem type number 3, given is a mass in grams and unknown is an amount of moles. So when you are given the mass of one substance and asked to calculate the amount in moles of another substance in the chemical reaction, the general plan is the mass of substance or in grams should yield an amount of unknown substance in mole, and then it should yield also an amount of unknown substance in mole to mass of unknown substance in grams. Next, Marie, please. So for the mole ratio, a conversion factor that relates the amounts in moles of any two substances involved in a chemical reaction. So we have here an example, an aluminum oxide. So 2 aluminum oxide should yield an amount of 4 aluminum plus 3 oxygen. So these are the possible mole ratio of the said reaction. So 2 mole of aluminum oxide over 4 mole of aluminum, or 4 mole of aluminum over 2 mole of aluminum oxide. The next possible mole ratio is 2 mole of aluminum oxide should yield an amount of 3 mole of oxygen, or 3 mole of oxygen should yield an amount of 2 mole of aluminum oxide. And then the next one is 4 mole of aluminum should yield an amount of 3 mole of oxygen, or 3 mole of oxygen should yield an amount of 4 mole of aluminum. Next, Marie. For the decomposition of aluminum oxide, the appropriate mole ratio would be used as a conversion factor to convert a given amount in moles of one substance to the corresponding amount in moles of another substance. To determine in moles of aluminum that can be produced from 13 mole of aluminum oxide, the mole ratio needed is that of aluminum to aluminum oxide is 13.0 mole of aluminum oxide times 4 mole of aluminum over 2 mole of aluminum oxide is equals to 26 mole of aluminum. Pa-next ko, Kyle. So, yung problem dito is same lang yung kanina. So, pinakita yung mga possible mole ratio ng aluminum oxide. So, next please. And then, to find the mass of aluminum equivalent to 26.0 mole of aluminum, the computation would be like this: 26.00 mole of aluminum times 26.98 grams of aluminum over 1 mole of aluminum is equal to 701 grams of aluminum. So next is Milky.
Ideal stoichiometric calculations. Next, please. Conversions of quantities in moles. It is a solution plan for problems in which the given and unknown quantities are expressed in moles. So, the formula is the amount of given substance in mole times mole of unknown over mole of a given substance equals the amount of unknown substance in mole. For example, in a spacecraft, the carbon dioxide exhaled by astronauts can be removed by its reaction with lithium hydroxide. According to the reaction, carbon dioxide plus 2 lithium hydroxide will have a product of lithium carbonate plus water. Next, the question is, how many moles of lithium hydroxide are required to react with 20 mole carbon dioxide, the average amount exhaled by a person each day? Solution, the given is the amount of carbon dioxide, 20 mole, then the unknown is the amount of lithium hydroxide in mole. This problem requires one conversion factor, the mole of lithium hydroxide to carbon dioxide. The mole ratio is obtained from the balanced chemical equation. Because you are given moles of carbon dioxide, select a mole ratio that will cancel mole carbon dioxide and give you mole lithium hydroxide in your final answer. The correct ratio has the following units: mole lithium hydroxide over mole carbon dioxide. Next. So in this ratio, cancels mole carbon dioxide and gives the units mole lithium hydroxide in the answer. So we have here mole of carbon dioxide times mole of lithium hydroxide over mole of carbon dioxide para makancel natin ang carbon dioxide. Then ang maiwan is mole of lithium hydroxide. So substitution, 20 mole of carbon dioxide given na siya kagaina, then times 2 mole of lithium hydroxide from the chemical formula, then 1 mole carbon dioxide, then cancel si carbon dioxide, then maiwan yung lithium. So 20 times 2 equals to 40 mole of lithium hydroxide. The equation shows that twice the amount in moles of lithium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide. Therefore, the answer should be 2 times 20 equals 40. Thank you.
For our laboratory 7, reactions stoichiometry and ideal stoichiometry calculation, we merge all our answers and in writing all possible mole ratio. In first problem, it's typo. So, ang ano dyan is 2Hg to 2H1 plus O2G. So, ang mga possible answers is nandito, given ni siya sa, ito yung answer ng mga ka-groupmates ko na we combine. So, in the problem number 2, in writing all possible mole ratio, for 4 ammonia grams to 5 nitrogen G plus 6 H2OI. These are the possible mole ratio. Next.
Hello. Marinig po ako, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Ammonia is widely used as fertilizer and in many household cleaners. How many moles of ammonia are produced when 6 mole of hydrogen gas react with an excess of nitrogen gas? To calculate the amount in moles of another, it is expressed as amount of given substance multiplied by mole unknown over the given moles. First, we should get the balance equation for nitrogen and hydrogen gas to ammonia to get the mole ratio, which is N2 plus 3H2 equals to 2NH3. So the solution will be 6 moles H2 multiplied by 2 mole NH3 over 3 mole H2. Cancel the moles of hydrogen gas, so the answer is 4 moles of ammonia.
What is the chemical equation for number 1?
Ano po? Yung amount of given substance multiplied by moles of unknown over the given mole.
I mean the chemical reaction, the balanced chemical reaction.
N2 plus 3H2 equals to 2NH3 po.
N2 plus
3H2
equals?
2NH3.
Okay, let's see later.
Okay po, ma'am. Second, the decomposition of potassium chlorate is used as a source of oxygen in the laboratory. How many moles of potassium chlorate are needed to produce 15 mole of oxygen gas? The same procedure with the first problem. So the balance equation for this is 2 KClO3 equals to 2 KCl plus 3O2. So the solution will be 15 moles of oxygen gas multiplied by 2 mole of KClO3 over 3 moles of oxygen gas. Cancel the moles of oxygen gas. So the answer is 10 moles of potassium chlorate. That's all po, ma'am, for our group. Thank you.
Okay. Questions from the classmates about the report?
Ako, ma'am.
Yes.
Sa may sa first part, yung number 2. Di ba dapat may ano, guys? May or, something ibaliktad ang possible na mole ratios.
Okay, balik ninyo dito sa slide sa first part. No. That the first part sa activity. Mole ratio. Report ni Marie. Yan. Sige,
Kung sa number 2, guys.
number two. What's your question again, Eden?
Ano ma'am kanang or ba siya dapat ang ibaliktad sa kada possible na mole ratio like kaning 4NH3 over 6
No.
NO.
Okay. Yeah, you may do it like that. Ako na right ka sa screen ha. Wait lang. Looking for my pen. Wait. Ayan. So, unsa ni ang ilahang answer? Let's see. So, this is 4 moles. Oh, when you answer problems like this, you complete ha, like this one. Let me change the color of my pen. Okay. So, like 4 moles of your ammonia, this will yield, may kulang dito sa ano, no? May kulang dito. So, this is not yield. May 6NO2 tayo dito. So, 4 moles of ammonia, kindly correct this ha. So, 4 moles of ammonia will react with 6 moles of your nitrogen dioxide. If you write it like this, that is correct. Or we can write, pwede natin siyang ibaliktad. So, 6 moles of NO2 will yield 4 moles of ammonia. So, ani ato ang answer ha. Did I answer your question, Eden?
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
dapat duwa gid siya, ma'am.
Yes. So that's the same thing with the other problem, with the other answers, just like this one. Number 2, 4 moles of ammonia will yield sa ato ang balanced chemical reaction. This will yield 5 moles. Sorry, I forgot the moles. So please complete ha. That is very important, the word moles. So 4 moles of ammonia will yield 5 moles of your nitrogen. Okay? So you write also or kasi pwede din siyang baliktad, class. Pwede din siya. This one is a possible mole ratio also. So 5 moles of nitrogen will be produced if you have 4 moles of ammonia. So that's how you write it. Okay? Anything else? Anything else that you want to clarify?
Sorry po na i-edit na lang po namin yan.
Okay. So, can you stop share first? Ayan. Sige. So, para ma-clarify natin lahat, class. Again, this is reaction stoichiometry and ideal stoichiometry calculations. So, sa activity na ito, we will just apply our discussion sa lecture about stoichiometry. How are you going to identify the mole ratio? So, before you can identify all the possible mole ratio, you have to ensure that you have balanced the chemical equation. So, just like sa activity natin, I have given you a chemical equation. You have to see it first na balanced siya before tayo mag-conclude na or mag-answer ng lahat ng possible mole ratios natin. So, just like this one, let's check. We have 2 mercury in the reactant side and then 2 oxygen. So sa product na side, yes, you have 2 moles of mercury and 2 atoms of oxygen also. So since this one is a balanced reaction, then you can now list down all the possible mole ratios. When you say mole ratios, ito yung mga coefficients natin sa ating chemical equation. Coefficients lang yung ating gagamitin. So for number 1, I think sa report nila, Marie, you have to edit your report also since yung number 1 na nilagay nyo is still this one. So hindi nyo ata ito nasagot yung first na given. So for number 1, if we list down all the possible ratios, you can start with the reactant. So 2 moles, do not forget moles ha. So 2 moles of mercuric oxide. Wait, let us admit. Parang may problem yung iba sa internet connection. Palagi silang nadi-disconnect. Okay, so 2 moles of mercuric oxide will yield 2 moles of your mercury. So this is not I ha, it's L, which means liquid. So S is solid, and then L is liquid, G is gas. So kasi sa equation natin, if you have daw 2 molecules of a solid mercuric oxide, when it decomposes, it will yield a liquid na mercury and a gas na oxygen. Ano siya ang meaning, ana? So you can write this one as reverse niya. So 2 moles of mercury will be produced if you have 2 moles of mercuric oxide. So you can write these answers. So no, let's just have the first one. So sa second one, you can also write, wait, sige hindi sila ka-disconnect. Okay, so you can also write you have 2 moles of mercuric oxide will also yield, this time it's only 1 mole of oxygen. Or the reverse of that, 1 mole of oxygen will be produced if you have 2 moles of, sorry. Nakalimot sad ko sa moles. Okay. So 2 moles of mercuric oxide. So that's the second possible mole ratio. And then you can also write, if you have 2 moles of mercury produced in the reaction, 1 mole of oxygen will also be produced. And the reverse of that, 1 mole of oxygen is 2 moles of mercury. So these are the possible mole ratios for our number 1. May iba ba kayong answers dyan sa number 1? Or did you get the same answers written on the screen? So I hope tama ang inyong answer ha, parehas taog answer. That's how you identify all the possible mole ratios in a given chemical equation. So this is very important to know kasi when we do stoichiometric calculations, 'di ba? Included sa ating pattern yung ating mole ratio. So to convert moles to moles or moles to grams, you need the mole ratio. Okay, so that is for number 1. Now, how about number 2? So sa number 2, medyo marami tayo dito kasi this one is complete yung ating reaction kasi ito decomposition, you only have 1 reactant. So this time we have 2 reactants, so medyo marami ang ating possible mole ratio. So we can start with the 4 moles of our ammonia reacting with 6 moles of our nitrogen monoxide, or the reverse of that, 6 moles of nitrogen monoxide will react with the 4 moles of ammonia. Another thing, 4 moles of ammonia in the reaction will yield 5 moles of nitrogen. That's true also if you reverse it. 5 moles of nitrogen will be produced if you have 4 moles of ammonia. Okay? So ano pa? Ano pa ang pwedeng mole ratio dito? You have 4 moles of ammonia. This will also yield 6 moles of water. So, pwede mo ding i-reverse. 6 moles of water will be produced if you have 4 moles of ammonia. Okay? But we are not yet done because remember, you have one reactant pa. So, sa other reactant naman, if you have 6 moles of nitrogen monoxide, it will also yield 5 moles of nitrogen, and the reverse of that. Ayan. And meron pang isa, 6 moles of nitrogen monoxide will also give you 6 moles of water, or the other way around. Ayan. But question, are we done? Are we done with the list of all the possible ratios for number 2? Or meron tayong nakalimutan?
Meron pa, ma'am.
Yes, unsa to siya, Eden?
Ang sa may products, ma'am.
Okay, sa product na side. So if 5 moles of nitrogen will be produced in the reaction, this means meron ka ding 6 moles of water na mapoproduce, or the reverse of that. Okay? So this time, are we done with all the possible ratios for number 2? Okay na? Kompleto na? Did you get the same answer? Sige, pasa ninyo sa ako, Again, based sa natanggap ko sa Schoology, it's 13 out of 17. Meaning meron pang 4 na hindi naka-submit ng activity number 7. Wala nang questions about the first part of the activity. Madali lang naman yung ating mole ratio. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. But next time when you answer this, lagyan yun ng or. And then do not forget the moles. Okay? 4 moles of ammonia. Ganon. Yeah, okay lang, Mecca. Sige. So, I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday yung holiday sa school. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then...
Apple Wednesday, ma'am?
Apple Wednesday, ma'am?
Ang ako nabalaan, Appeal Wednesday.
March 31, ma'am?
Sa din yung nabalaan.
31 lang, ma'am.
Kasi I thought Thursday, Friday lang talaga. Ang alam ko Thursday, Friday lang. And then, meron akong na-receive na message from my co-teacher. Let me recheck it, Asa na ito, dapit? Last night. I only received the message last night from... Wait lang, asa na to? Yeah. Last night, na-receive ko ang message. Niya, ma'am, Wednesday di ay mag-start ang holiday sa school. Kasi we are talking about our lesson for our Wednesday class. Kasi ngun siya, appeal daw ang Wednesday, but I have not yet received a memo from the dean, I don't know asa gikan na. Wait lang. Ato ang i-confirm. I-confirm nato. Anyway, if things turns out like that, hayahay kayo mo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But next week will be your exam week. And then take note of our schedule sa laboratory. Your exam for the laboratory will be next week, Tuesday. Okay? Next week, Tuesday, yung exam sa lab. So included din siya. Yan, napatay, activity number 8. Napatay activity number 8, pero it's still stoichiometry. So, ihatag na ko siya later. Okay. Walay nito bag. Let's wait for the memo. Ang exam ninyo is for the lecture ha, ang inyong exam, I mean the exam schedules jud will be April 7, 8, and 10 because April 9 is a holiday. So 7, 8, and 10. May lakbang siya isa ka adlaw. Araw ng kagitingan ng April 9. So wala siya klase. Oo, actually gipakaon sila mo na nga saba. So sorry, daghan jud mag-iro. Mo na nga saba gyud sila. You can eat to. Magyapon mo nag-on sa inyong camera. So feeling na ako nag-kaon-kaon mo din ha. Oban sa inyo ha kay feeling na ko wag gyud ni sila yung mga ilis ba. Nya ni sulod sa ako ang klase nag-quiz. Nya di gini mo on og cam ba bisag unsa ang himuon di gini mo on og cam kay mga wag gyud ni sila ilis din hi. Okay. Wait daw ta sa memo kung i-declare ba sa school ang Wednesday nga holiday. Nagaduha-duha pa ang mga school admin nato kung apelon ba nila ang Wednesday or dili. Wala sad mo'y toothbrush ka pait ani. Okay ra man ang way ligo kay pwede ra man ka maligo unya no. It's okay as long as naminaw mo nakasabot mo aning ato ang istoryahan ha. Wala kay problema din ha o wa pa mo namangon sa inyong higdaan basta nagkasinabot ta sa ato ang mole ratio pag ipalista na ko sa inyo ha ang tanang possible mole ratio sa atong equation malista ninyo ha. Wala problema. Okay, so let's move on sa second part sa atong activity. So na ko siya ibutang sa ilalom para daghan og space. Ayan. Ay. Ethics? What's with your ethics? Na teacher niyo sa ethics si Ma'am Marquez? Tama? Si Ma'am Marquez inyong teacher sa ethics? Atik-atik. Feeling na ko si Ma'am Marquez. Kasi mostly sa ako nabalan nga ethics kay siya. Wednesday inyong klase. Sa mukha. Pag klase mo para maka-learn mo og ethics. Para ma-address nato atong mga concerns sa mga morality and mga ethics sure ba? Ko ano. I-learn dyan na ninyo ha. Sa mukha. Nakatawa ko. Anyway, nganong kabalo ko, ako manghod kay estudyante pagbiya sa doktor sa kumanghod, pharma lang siya pero ilahang ethics si Ma'am Marquez sad. And nagaklase si Ma'am Marquez karon actually madunggan ako yan tingog. Kinagtapad man mi diri sa kumanghod sa sala. So, madunggan ako yan tingog bisag naka-headset ako manghod. Sugay. Anyway, palingaw mo pa na ninyo. We have number 1, ammonia is widely used as fertilizer and in many household cleaners. How many moles of ammonia are produced when you have 6 moles of hydrogen gas react with an excess of nitrogen gas? So, ang atuang chemical equation supposedly ani is, naatay. So daw, we have hydrogen gas. Ang hydrogen gas daw, yatong gikan sa day, manghud na ko na. Balat sa mong now. We have hydrogen gas mag-react with the nitrogen gas. So nganong gibutangan nako na sila og 2 class. Remember sa ato ang Chem 101, we talked about the diatomic go up. Diatomic molecules. Kana manghod na ko dili gina siya ikalimod nga manghod na ko na kay among naong kay ano gyud gi-photocopy sa amo ang papa. Okay, so diatomic molecules, we have the Birchnow. Okay? Muna itong listahan sa diatomic molecules. If wala sila naka-combine with the other elements, ang ano sila, diatomic molecules sila. Dili sila pwede mag-exist nga isa ka atom lang. So always na siya duha again if wala sila nakabind with other elements, just like hydrogen. Pag hydrogen lang siya, dili siya pwede nga isa lang ka atom. Included siya sa diatomic molecule. So unsa ni sila? We have the bromine, the iodine, chlorine, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. Mawala lang ng 2 din ha if nakabind na sila with other elements, just like hydrochloric acid. You don't place 2 here already kasi nakabind na siya with chlorine. So C2 mag-exist lang na siya pag single. So just like this, hydrogen gas, wala siya nakabind with other elements. When you write the chemical formula for the hydrogen gas, it's always H2. So do not forget our diatomic molecules. And then we also have here nitrogen, included gihapon siya sa ato ang diatomic molecules. So if si hydrogen gas daw mag-react with the nitrogen gas, mag-produce daw na siya og ammonia. So ammonia is NH3. Do not forget the chemical formula of ammonia. Again, that is NH3. Now, ammonia siya ha, that's how you write the chemical equation sa atuang problem. So you just have to understand it. Makita ninyo, you have the hint here, produced. Ang ammonia daw ang ma-produce. So siya ang naa sa product na side. And take note of the word react, meaning si hydrogen ug si nitrogen, sila ang reactant. Now after writing these product and reactants, we have to balance kasi we cannot solve stoichiometric problems without balancing the equation. So dili gina siya balanced class kasi as you can see, you have 2 hydrogen here. If i-balance nato ni hydrogen, nitrogen, duha lang na sila. You have 2 sa reactant na side. You have 2 nitrogen also. This time, isa na lang ka nitrogen sa product na side. Ay, baliktad. Wait, let me erase this. Okay. So 3 ang hydrogen. So pwede nato siya para ma-balance, pwede nato butangan og 2 dinhi para hydrogen will become 6 and butangan nato 3 on the other side para this becomes 6 also. Now what happened to our nitrogen? It becomes 2 here, which means balance na siya. So this is now the balanced equation for the first problem. If we now have the balanced equation, we can now solve for the stoichiometric problem. So sa stoichiometric problem, do not forget our pattern. So unsa ato ang pattern? If you have grams na given, i-convert nato siya. Wait lang. I-convert nato siya sa moles, but you have to use the molecular weight here. Molecular weight, molar mass, or atomic weight. Ayan, parehas lang na sila. And then pag nahimo na siya og moles, this one is for the given. If we want to compute for what is asked in the problem, then we need to get the moles also of the unknown in the problem, but this time kailangan nato ang molar or mole ratio. Muna nga ang sa activity sa first part, kailangan makabalo mo paano ma-identify ang mga mole ratio. And then pag naanang kay moles of the unknown in the problem, you can convert it back to grams this time using the molecular weight also. So this is for the given, this is for the unknown in the problem. Now let's see sa number 1. What is asked here? Ammonia na ma-produce if you have 6 moles of hydrogen. So ang ginapangita, moles of ammonia. The given is in moles and ang ginapangita is moles gihapon. So if this is the case, di ba remember, ingon ko pag moles to moles, you just need this part. This part here. Ayan, maulang ni ang ato ang kinahanglan. So, ang given na mole, 6 moles of hydrogen. And then, ang kailangan lang nato to get the moles of the unknown in the problem is the mole ratio. Now, inyuhang tandaan jud para makancel ang unit class, since naan niya siya sa taas, ibutang nato siya sa baba. Mole ratio ang ato ang kailangan ani. So mole ratio ni hydrogen, let's look at the balance formula, that's 3H2. So you have 3 moles of hydrogen and we are looking for the ammonia, moles ni ammonia. So in the equation, if you have 3 moles of hydrogen, you will get 2 moles of ammonia. So mo na karon ang ato ang mole ratio. So ma-cancel. We can now solve for this. 6 times 2 is 12. Divided by 3, it's 4 moles of ammonia. This is the correct answer for number 1. Questions, class? I'll wait for your question. Isaksak na ako ang laptop ha, kay malobat na good siya. Okay. Wala questions? Nasabtan to? Parehas mong tag-answer? Unang hinahinay na maghagok din ha. Let us continue. So let's answer the second given. So we have here the decomposition. Take note of the word decomposition para magkaroon mo og mga hint kung asa siya nga part sa equation na kabutang. Okay, the decomposition of potassium chlorate is used as a source of oxygen in the laboratory. So how many moles of potassium chlorate are needed to produce 15 moles of oxygen? So this one is a decomposition reaction. Ang meaning ana, pag maingon kag decomposition, ang imuhang compound mag-separate to its components. Pwede siya element, pwede siya compound gihapon. So in this problem, ang mag-decompose daw si potassium chlorate. So potassium chlorate is KClO3, mag-decompose daw na siya. So unsa ang products kung mag-decompose ang atoang potassium chlorate? Ang una din ha nga na-mention is si oxygen. Okay? So pag matanggal na si oxygen, class, kaya mag-decompose man siya, ma-separate si oxygen. The other product for that, ang mabilin din ha, if we remove oxygen, syempre si KCl. So mauni siya ang duha ka products pag mag-decompose ang atoang potassium chlorate. Again, naunag ka-remove si oxygen, ang other product will be the KCl. Now, if you have identified the reactants and the products, the next step is to balance the equation. So if we balance this, we have KCl and O. We have one potassium, 1 chlorine, and 3 oxygen. On the other side, 1 potassium, 1 chlorine, and we have 2 oxygen. So, ang una natong i-balance, syempre si oxygen, kaya siya lang man ang dili balance din ha, as you can see. So, we can write 2 here. This makes it 6. And then we'll place 3 here para mahimo siya 6. But the problem is, si potassium nahimog 2, si chlorine nahimo sad og 2. So, what we are going to do here is we place 2 also here para nahimo ni siyang 2. Chlorine also becomes 2. Therefore, if potassium chlorate decomposes, it will yield 3 moles of oxygen and 2 moles of potassium chloride. So, okay na ang atuang balanced chemical equation. This time, we will now answer the stoichiometric problem. So, unsa ang given nato? Ang given nato is, ma-produce daw is 15 moles of oxygen and ang ginapangita, moles gihapon. So, moles ni potassium chlorate. So, the given is in moles. You are also looking for the mole. So based sa pattern class, pag moles to moles, do not forget you only need the mole ratio. So 15 moles of oxygen daw will be produced. Ang mole ratio na to ane, you have moles of oxygen sa baba para makancel. And syempre, we are looking for potassium chlorate. So the moles of potassium chlorate should be found sa taas. Ayan. Para makancel siya, ang mabilin, syempre, moles ni potassium chlorate. So, what is our mole ratio here? Ang ma-produce daw na oxygen is 3 moles if you have 2 moles of potassium chlorate. So 15 times 2, it's 30 divided by 3, it's 10. So the correct answer for number 2 is 10 moles of potassium chlorate. Did you get the same answer sa nakasulat sa screen? Okay, very good. So, ingani ang mga magawa sa quiz nato o sa ato ang exam. Ipalist down ako sa inyo ha ang mole ratio and then I will give you problems. Ang pinakauna ninyong himuon class hack kay you identify unsa ang reactant, unsa ang product sa problem. Tapos, number 2, you balance the equation. And then number 3, you solve for the stoichiometric problem using the pattern na ako ang gitudlo sa inyong ha. Questions? Wala? Wala may questions? So, dili pa ko mag-quiz karon. The quiz for activity number 7 will be tomorrow para you can still scan your notes. You can still review, especially sa pattern nato. And then maka-review pa mo how are you going to balance the equation para sigurado na tama ato ang answer sa stoichiometric problem. So again, tomorrow ang ato ang quiz for activity number 7. Questions? Wala? So atong mga remaining schedule class before your exam. So tomorrow, say date of March 30. So March 30, 7:30 to 9. Syempre lecture ni siya. I still have one chapter left na i-lecture sa inyo ha. If you want to have advanced reading, you may read about colligative properties. That will be our next lesson for tomorrow. And then 9 to 12, syempre we have our lab. The first thing we are going to do sa lab is mag-quiz ta sa activity number 7. And then you will continue answering the activity number 8. Actually, I'll be giving the activity number 8 today. Since we still have 2 hours, almost 2 hours left, it's still 10 o'clock. Para makastart na mo. And then tomorrow after the quiz, you will just continue answering the activity number 8. Answeran na ninyo siya para pag mingon mo holiday gyud wala mo himuon. Ha? And then, what will be our sa pa itong mga remaining na dates na natay klase? April 5, this is a Monday. So, that's the same thing. I'll be continuing my lesson about colligative properties at 7:30, and then 9 to 12 on Monday class, we will have our reporting sa activity number 8, and this will be done by the last group 4, group ni Laika. Okay? So you are scheduled to report your answers activity 8 on Monday. And then after the report, we'll have a quiz sa activity number 8. Okay? So sa April 6, naapatay klase class kay ang inyuhang exam kay April 7 pa. So this is a Tuesday. So sa 7:30, we'll have our quiz about colligative properties. After the quiz, sa laboratory, we will have your lab midterm exam. Ayan. So, na ato ang remaining na mga schedule with the activities na ato ang himuon para makapanukad mo. Kung mag-study ba mo or dili. Siyempre mag-study yun. Okay, questions about activity number 7 before na ko ihatag ang activity number 8? Okay, wala. Ayan. So this will be the activity number 8. It's called percentage yield. So supposedly this one is a lab experiment. Kailangan siya i-conduct as an experiment inside the laboratory, but since ato ang situation will not permit us pa from conducting a face-to-face laboratory class, then we will just start with the computation first of the percentage yield. This will be how are you going to do the activity. So sa procedure, kung i-conduct dapat nato ni siya nga activity, ang himuon nato, we will be weighing a clean dry 250 ml beaker. So since wala ta naka experiment, I have given you class the weight of the beaker sa inyong activity. It's 77.42 grams. Now add approximately 2.5 grams of sodium bicarbonate to the beaker. So our substance here is sodium bicarb. Accurately weigh the beaker and sodium bicarbonate. Slowly add the hydrochloric acid solution, about 10 to 15 ml, and observe. When the reaction has apparently stopped, add a few more ml of the HCl solution to be sure all sodium bicarb has reacted. After gipa-react si sodium bicarb ug si HCl, evaporate the solution to recover the product. Meaning ato ang product dinhi is si sodium chloride using oven or burner. So sa burner, heat slowly and carefully to avoid sputtering. Heat in a hood, be careful not to breathe fumes. So sa hood ni siya ginabutang, we have class a fume hood sa laboratory wherein we will conduct our experiment, especially if kanang mga substances nga na ay fume nga dili dapat nato ma-inhale. So just like hydrochloric acid, since this is a strong acid, pag gina-evaporate class, syempre mahimo siya gas, pwede nato ma-inhale ang gas. So we have to do it inside the fume hood para dili nato siya ma-inhale. So sa fume hood man good, it's a closed one. You just ang imuha lang isulod sa fume hood imuhang kamot, and then the gas class will be i-absorb siya pataas class, and then dili na nimo siya ma-inhale. So, results and observation. We have here mass of empty beaker. It's already given in the problem. Mass of beaker plus sodium bicarb. Siyempre, you just add. Kasi given man kung unsa kadaghan ang sodium bicarb sa problem plus the weight of the beaker. And then mass of sodium bicarb, it's also identified in the problem already. Mass of beaker and NaCl after evaporating. So ang mass of sodium chloride is given, it's 1.45. Just add it sa mass sa beaker to get this one. Doon sa ibuhaton ani, you will be doing stoichiometric computation. This is percentage yield. Pero before you can compute for the percentage yield, you have to do stoichiometric calculation. So unsa ganito atong himuon, just like activity number 7, number 1 is you have to identify the reactants and product or products if daghan for our problem. So basahon ninyo ning problem nga gihatag dinhi, i-identify ang reactants and ang products. Tapos number 2, you have to balance the equation. Okay? Pag na-balance na ang equation, you will be computing for the theoretical yield using stoichiometry. Okay? So, paano daw i-compute si theoretical yield? You will be using stoichiometry. Kung tanawin ninyo, from the grams of sodium bicarb used, i-calculate daw ang moles ni sodium bicarb and ang mass ni NaCl. So, from the grams of the sodium bicarb, you have to compute for the mass of NaCl. Muna nga you have to do it using stoichiometry. Ang makompute ninyo dinhi nga mass of NaCl is called the theoretical yield. Kasi in theory, mao dapat na pag naa daw kay pila tong grams na to sa sodium bicarb, 2.5. In theory class, pag naa daw kay 2.5 grams nga sodium bicarb, kung pila to inyong na-compute na mass ni NaCl, actually, mao dapat na ang ma-produce theoretically. Okay? Theoretical lang siya. Pero it is different from the actual. Okay? Wait lang ha. Okay? Wait lang. So, another thing that you have to do using the mass of NaCl recovered, sa itong NaCl nga na-recover, it's 1.45 grams. Again, it's 1.45 grams ang mass ni NaCl na na-recover. Actually, we call this the actual yield. Nganong actual yield man siya, kay mauna siya ang na-produce nga NaCl during the experiment, actual experiment. Kaning inyong i-compute dinhi na mass of NaCl, mao ni ang theoretical yield. So using the computation, supposedly dapat mauna ang imuhang ma-produce. Pero let's see if pareho ba ang ma-produce theoretically and in actual experiment. So another thing, stoichiometric problem nga inyong i-compute kani. Naa na kay mass of NaCl na na-recover kani, i-calculate nimo ang mole using stoichiometry gihapon. And the last thing that you have to do here is calculate the percentage yield. So muna ang number 4, calculate for the percentage yield. So unsa ato ang equation for the percentage yield? Percentage yield class is equal to the actual yield, actual yield divided by the theoretical yield times 100. That's how you get the percentage yield. Okay? Again, You need the actual yield. It's already given in the problem. And then for the theoretical yield, remember you have to compute it using stoichiometry. And then times 100. After computing for the percentage yield, please answer the following questions. Let me delete the writing sa screen. This is being recorded, so I'll be giving you the copy later. So you have to answer the following questions. Why can the percentage yield theoretically not be greater than 100%? So ano di daw pwede na atong percentage yield is greater than 100%. So use the law of conservation of mass. So you read about this law nga nung dili pwede greater than 100% ato ang percentage yield. And then why is it necessary to add sufficient hydrochloric acid to ensure the complete reaction with the sodium bicarb? So you read again the procedure, and then based on that, you research why we have to add sufficient na amount ni HCl na ipareact na to sa sodium bicarb. And then you make your own conclusion based on what you have learned in this activity. So questions about activity number 8. Still have 1.5 hours left. You can start doing this activity. And then pag hindi nyo siya matapos, 10:30 to 12, then we will continue it tomorrow. Okay, so group 4, you will be reporting activity number 8 next week, Monday. Make sure to report everything, including the procedure. Okay, so as much as possible, pwede schematic diagram na lang para ma-simplify ang procedure. You have concerns, class?